Hey folks, my name is Brian and you're watching Survival on Purpose. In this video, I'm going to take my compass and map and invite you to join me on a short hike to demonstrate some practical applications of some of the stuff we've been learning about using a map and compass. So stick with me, we'll see how it goes. Okay folks, so just want to let you know this video that you're about to watch was filmed on a couple of days. After I got home to do the editing the first day, I realized I had some stuff that I didn't cover that I wanted to cover that wasn't in the shot. So came back up and did it again. It's a little bit colder this afternoon, so I'm wearing a different hat and maybe I look a little different, so don't let that catch you by surprise. And let's talk about how you use a compass and a map in the field. Okay, so today we're going to go a hike up Little Kennesaw Mountain, and brought a couple of versions of maps out. I've got the orthographic map, I've got the regular topographic map here. It's upside down, and I brought actually a larger scale just so we could look at some far off landmarks to try to orient ourselves maybe a little better, find out where we are. But right now we are right here at the intersection of Burnt Hickory and I think this is Old Mountain Road, but there's at the bottom of the trail. The trail starts here, and the trail we're going to follow goes up to the top of Pigeon Hill and then follows around up to the top of Little Kennesaw Mountain. So one thing that's going to be real important to do is to go ahead and orient our compass to the map, orient the map to the compass actually. So I'll show you how we do that. Okay, so my particular compass actually has a little feature. I can set this on the compass, but since yours may not have that, we're going to do this the old-fashioned way. So first, zero your compass so the end needle points to the little mark here, your direction of travel being this way. What you're going to need to do this, at the bottom of your map, and if you printed it, then you're going to want to verify your scale. And the way you do that is, you can see this scale says 1 in 24,000, and that is 1 inch in 24,000 inches. And that, if you do the math, divide 24,000 by 12, that comes out to 2,000. So 1 inch should equal 2,000 feet on the map. So your compass should have a scale on the side of it, a 1 inch scale, and if we look at what 1 inch is on here, see if this is right, 1 to 2, so it's 2,000 feet. So this is to scale, which for what we're going to do today doesn't really matter. But the other thing I wanted to point out is really important. I'm going to zoom in on this a little better so you can see it a little better. Okay, and that is the deviation between magnetic north and the true north. True north is going to be marked with a star on your map. Magnetic north, as you can see, the difference is 4.29 degrees. What that means is there's a difference of 4.29 degrees between where the map shows north and where your compass will show north. You can see it is 4.29 degrees to the west, which is counterclockwise, and if you go in a circle. So what you're going to do is turn your compass the same direction which turn it left, take the end and turn it left to 4.29 degrees. Since each one of these little dots, these little ticks on the compass is 2 degrees, because there's 5 between the 10, so you're going to basically want to go just a little over 2 clicks. And I know you know it's kind of tough to get that exact, but that's going to be close enough. Now what that's going to mean is that when you lay your map down, we'll get the other version out, it's a little easier to see. You lay this on the side of your map, okay? So on a straight edge, right here. All right, and then turn the whole entire thing till the needle is in the little indicator arrows, or the doghouse as they say. And that's going to mean that your map should now be oriented properly with the actual terrain you're at. Okay, so from this point forward, now that your compass has been adjusted for the declination and the difference between magnetic north and compass north, or true north, then if you want to get a look at where you are and how the map should match up to the land, you just lay it down and do the same thing. Line your compass up with the side and turn the whole thing until the needle's in the doghouse. At that point in time, you should be able to move your compass and everything should match. Now, as I said, we are right here, and you can see that the hill starts up this way and obviously this is a hill. We talked about that in the map video. So if you look, out there is the intersection that is shown on the map. So let's get started, and as we go along, we'll stop, and as we go up the trail there, and kind of take our bearings in a minute. Okay, so see, we're starting up Pigeon Hill. We'll take a look at that on the map in a minute, but you can see this is pretty good uphill trail here. So fun. Great way to start a hike, straight uphill. Okay, so we're starting on the hill up the Pigeon Hill here. We'll take a look at the map in a minute and see where we're at. Okay, so we want to get an idea of where we are now. That's where we're going, by the way. That's the crest, top of Little Kennesaw. So we can take our map out now, try to get a basic idea of where we are. I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so we've already got our compass adjusted for declination. So the first thing you want to do is lay the side of your compass along one edge of the map so you know you got a straight line, and then turn the entire thing, map and compass, together until the needle of your compass is in the doghouse for the north-south indicator. And now we have it right there. So double check it, make sure it's right. Yeah, because we're on a bumpy surface, so it's a little hard to get exactly flat, but we're gonna be pretty good right there. So I say we are somewhere in here. We're kind of at the top of Pigeon Hill. So let's take a look. Right now, my pencil's pointing pretty much at the crest of Little Kennesaw. So we're going to be somewhere along this line, I would think. One more way you can tell for sure, now that the map is oriented properly, leave it where it is, hopefully it'll stay, and then take your compass, aim your compass at the target. Get over here behind where I can see. So, and this is not going to be exact because but aim it at the target, and then put your needle in the doghouse again. And you can take a reading. It looks like we're at 42, about 46 degrees. So now, you take the top of Little Kennesaw up here, and we've got the compass set at 46 degrees. So if we slide it around, so the edge is here, obviously straight edge, we'll leave it up here. Slide it around from our target to where the needle is back in the doghouse again. And we should be somewhere along this line here. This line here is where we should be, roughly there. Now to really do this properly, you need to triangulate on another point somewhere in the distance so you can get 2 points where they cross is where you are exactly. However, we're surrounded by trees now. That's the only really recognizable landmark you can see is the top of that. So based on where we just climbed, we're going to be somewhere right in here. When we get up a little higher, we can see further. We'll do it again and actually look at two different landmarks. We'll be able to get a much more precise location. So let's keep going. So like I said, really the only other landmark we could even see, we're just surrounded here by trees. It's pretty, but there's really no way to get a visual on another, significant landmark that's going to stand out. So let's keep going. Okay, well, obviously, if you're walking on an established trail like this, you don't really need a map or a compass, but it's a good opportunity to point out how it works, and to look at the features and to see. It's really easy to check yourself as far as to make sure you've got the map orienting down. If you go somewhere it's got a very recognizable landmark. This not only recognizable in the real world, but it's highly recognizable on a map, which a mountaintop is pretty simple, especially since we're not in the mountains. There's just a couple of little lone small mountains out here in Marietta, Georgia, so it's really the only ones around, so it really stands out on a map. It's just a good way to check yourself. So right up there is where we're going. Probably 3/4 of the way up the mountain now, so let's go ahead and carry on. You probably don't want to hear me doing all this heavy breathing. So okay, so we've made it to the top of Little Kennesaw Mountain, and for those of you who are history buffs, you probably recognize that this was the site of a major battle in the Civil War when the Confederate forces were, I guess, dug in all along this mountain and the bigger Kennesaw Mountain over to the northeast a little bit. And actually, can you imagine dragging those cannons up here? So you can actually see regular Kennesaw Mountain down this trail. All right, folks, sorry about the wind again. So once again, we want to put our compass back. I got to readjust the declination on our compass, and it was a little over 4 degrees to the west. So we're going to turn this a little over 2 clicks. 1, 2, about right there. Lay it on the edge of the compass. Lay it on the edge of the map rather, and then on the straight edge, and then turn it the whole thing until it lines up the needle in the doghouse. Let me get that out of the way. It's kind of in the way. And that should put us pretty close to being oriented. So that's going to orient us. And you can see we should be we are about right here at the top of Little Kennesaw Mountain. So Kennesaw Mountain is in the top of Kennesaw Mountain is in that direction, and that is. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a bearing to the Kennesaw Mountain, and we'll write that down because this map's not going to stay where it's at. The wind's blowing. We'll take another bearing to this little lake right over here, way over there. That's the only one I can see. That's kind of one of the drawbacks of using these printed maps is you don't have as big an area, but it's also a lot easier to carry. So and they're free, by the way. So we take those 2 bearings, we'll write them down, and then we'll transfer them to the map, and we'll triangulate and try to find our position. Stick with me. Let's see. So you can see, hopefully, the crest of the mountain about right there. Okay, that's the top of the mountain. And again, if you don't have a compass with a mirror on it, that's perfectly fine. You can do this easily without it. I did it for years, but For the sake of the video, I'm trying to show you it's a lot easier because I have to hold it down at waist level and look at it, and you can't really see it. So we're going to go ahead and just spin the dial again until the needle is in the doghouse. And we got a little ways to go here. So maybe if I take these gloves off and aim it right where you're going, so the needle's in the doghouse. And there it is. Okay, so that's going to put us out. And you can actually read the bearing in the mirror also. It's just backwards. That's going to be 20, 40, 50, about 53 degrees. About 53 degrees to the mountain. So we'll write that down and then we'll take a look at the map. Okay, once again, first step is to reorient our map. So we're going to turn this back to, actually, first step is going to be right 53 at the mountain. So I'm going to orient, turn this back to our little over 4 degrees to the top. Reorient the map so the needle is in the doghouse. And honestly, sometimes, granted, kind of throw this off if there's any iron ore or anything in it, but it's so what I'm going to do is when I get this oriented, north is pointed that way, I'm going to kind of raise the compass up and make sure it stays where it's supposed to. So should be about right there. So we got it where we want it now. So the lake was at 307 degrees, so we're going to turn this to 307 degrees. Right at 307. Put it at the lake, and then rotate the compass again until the needle is in the doghouse. Okay? And when the needle's in the doghouse, now we're going to draw a line, and since we're not long enough, we're going to extend our line out a little further. All right, so we got a line here, and then the mountaintop was at 53 degrees, so we're going to turn this to 53 degrees. Or thereabouts. Put on the mountaintop right here and rotate it until the needle is in the doghouse again, which is about right there. And draw a line. And the point where the line intersects should be our current location. And as you can see, intersects right here at the top of Little Kennesaw, which is about where we are. So that is how you use triangulation to find your position on a map. So sometimes you have to really look around to find some recognizable landmarks that show up well on the map. But if you take your time, you can do it. Okay, so triangulation is not going to get you exactly, precisely, in most cases, give you your exact location, but get you real close as long as you can find some really recognizable landmarks. The more recognizable and the closer you can get a true bearing to them, the better. Actually, if you can find 3 points, that just gives you another verification. They should all 3 lines intersect at the same place. But it's a really useful technique for locating your position on a map. And it's also real important, by the way, that you want to find those points. And I think I forgot to mention this. They need to be somewhere within 90 degrees of each other on the circle. If they're 180 degrees apart, which is going to be a straight line basically, it's going to be hard to tell where they're just going to be 2 parallel lines crossing, lay on top of each other. So anyway, that's triangulation. Let's get back down this mountain. Okay, I want to show you one of the reasons I really, really like it here. It's just really cool. I mean, look at this view. I don't know how many miles that is, but it's a lot of miles. And I know the shadows are pretty long. There's Mr. Squirrel down there. They're always pretty long. Seems like when I'm making videos, it's usually pretty late in the day. I've got that whole job thing to go to every morning, and which I guess just goes to show you can do this outdoor stuff and have a good time and enjoy yourself outdoors and still have a regular life, family, job, and all the above. But it is getting dark, so I'll try to head down. Well, I just want to show you a really good example around here in Atlanta to help you learn to orient your map and your compass. It's got some very visible landmarks that show up really well on a map. So I hope this has been helpful. I also want to take just a minute to, I guess, offer a shout out or just a thank you to a guy named Andy Tran. If you're not familiar with Andy, he's got a great YouTube channel called Bark Outdoors. And Andy's the one of his videos kind of inspired me to get out some different locations and do a little sweating to get to some different video locations. And if you haven't seen Andy's channel, my mouth's cold here. If you haven't seen Andy's channel, I urge you to check it out. And once again, it's Bark Outdoors. I'll put a link down below here. In addition to being a really great, knowledgeable outdoorsman and sharpshooter, Andy is a heck of a filmmaker. I think he's in his 20s. He's out west somewhere. And his production values are so much higher than mine. It's unbelievable. Some really great videos. They're full of great information. And they're also just great fun to watch. So check out Andy. Appreciate it. I don't know him. Have never met him. I just like his channel. I watch a lot of his videos. And he just seems like a genuinely nice guy. So anyway, that's my little plug for Andy. So once again, folks, my name's Brian. This is Survival on Purpose. I appreciate you watching my videos, subscribing, clicking the old thumbs up, telling your friends about it, going to Twitter, all that stuff. It really helps, and I thank you. Once again, my name is Brian. You're watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival's not an accident. See you next time.